Kanye sued over sample used on Donda 2 track, which is Flowers. The publishing company for house artist Marshall Jefferson says the rapper failed to clear a sample of the track Move Your Body before using it in his song. Now, I was actually talking to someone about this today, and just as far as, sampling is so prevalent, right? And you
Mhm.
have, artists like Kanye, you have Black Eyed Peas, you have kind of these groups and artists that sample is like a big thing of what they
Right,
do
right.
often. And so you got to go through, you got to get the samples cleared. And
Well,
if you don't, then you run into lawsuits and problems.
and Will.i.am does that a lot of that stuff that you were talking about earlier from the Black Eyed Peas. When he produces Black Eyed Peas music, he will not only sample, but he will reinterpolate. Is that how you say it? Reinterpolate the sample. So he'll replay everything. So he'll make his own versions of the sample. So it's not like he doesn't always just directly sample. But as to your point, that's still considered a sample because he's putting new lyrics, he's putting new things over it. But I mean, I don't know how he thought he was going to get away with this one. Now Kanye he samples all the time, and he's kind of notorious for trying to let things kind of slide every now and again. But this is honestly like this Move Your Body track is like a huge house song. Like it's been sampled to oblivion. This song is no stranger to being sampled. I mean, one of my favorites is like, Daft Punk has done it on like the I think it was on the Discovery album they did it. But it's like it's such a well-known house song, and I just don't know why you would even try it. Now that being said, the song is great. I actually am one of the few people I think that really thought Donda 2 was good. I don't think it was as great as Donda 1, but I actually did quite enjoy it when it came out. And I do like the Flower song. But and it's not even just him. It's the guy that made the stem player, because the problem is I was gonna play the sample soloed out, but when you have the stem player and you have Donda 2, you have the Marshall Jefferson sample that you can just light up and solo out by itself, and that's another complaint that he has. Because the album was sold only on the stem player,
Right.
so you had
Right.
to get the stem player in order to even get it. And I mean,
That
that thing
part,
sold 11,000 and for $200 each within the first 24 hours of Donda being released. So, but I don't remember if this version was on that version, because the versions of the songs constantly get updated on the stem player. So what version of the song was first is not necessarily the same version that's on now.
yeah, no, and I wonder if maybe a part of Kanye's thinking is that it's easier just to move forward and do what you need to do creatively, and if your legal team can't get it done in time, you'll deal with it after the fact. Because what happens here is that someone's going to file a lawsuit, and they're going to seek, statutory damages up to $150,000 if it's willful per copyright infringement. And then oftentimes, if there really was infringement, you see the parties settle out, right? So if he was going to pay, let's say, a couple $100,000 for the sample or $500,000 for the sample. Again, I don't know if this is the case, but it's almost like efficient breach, right? You just do it and you apologize for it later and you pay the monies you need to pay later. I could see that someone who, has a decent amount of cash flow and that they would be able to do this.
So I guess my question to you then would be, that seems like I feel like that's a double-edged sword. So if you have a lot of money to do it, then I could see you just try to go by and do it. But at the same point, when you're selling 11,000 of these things, you earned a lot of money. So then isn't it can't now the person that they sampled from charge a lot more, because it's already sold, it's already whatever, they've already been damaged, as it were. So they could ask for
Yeah,
more money than as if
exactly.
he just reached out in the beginning. And then somebody that doesn't have money, could they do this too? Would you recommend to somebody that doesn't have Kanye's money to do this?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're seeking on top of statutory damages, disgorgement of profits, right? So we say, in addition to what we're entitled to under the Copyright Act, we also want, either disgorgement of all profits, so meaning everything that was earned, we want to be paid that amount, or you have like, for example, blurred lines, right? So the famous
Mhm.
blurred lines case, Pharrell and the Marvin Gaye estate, and the fact that they not only won, but they're entitled to a very large portion of earnings moving forward for the in perpetuity. So same kind of thing. They would say we want a piece of the pie from everything that was earned as well as everything that's going to be earned thereafter. And so you kind of end up just negotiating the deal after the fact. I mean, we talk about this with artists who sample as well, and like these indie artists who will blow up. you have huge exposure for just getting sued and having your music taken down and strikes and all this stuff. But sometimes labels will just come back and say, we'll negotiate the contract, even though it's after the fact, even though you already violated whatever, the song was popular, let's make some money together. So, sometimes you can work this out.
Yeah, no, I remember on our second record that we did together, there was a song that we had called was it Better Than You Think? I think. And we tried to get a sample going of a Gap, was it, no, not Gap Band, Cameo. We tried to get a Cameo sample
Oh,
cleared,
yeah.
and we could not get them on the horn. And we were like running up to the last minute, and at the last minute we just said, you know what, you gotta pull it, you gotta pull it.
Yeah, no, and the last thing I'll say on this is just, I guess a part of what people are saying is that Kanye is kind of being a hypocrite, right? So being all about artist rights, he's outspoken, he's been kind of fighting the label to reclaim even his own rights, his own ownership of his masters, and yet you're just going to go and take music or samples from other people's music.
Yeah, no, but I mean, what do you mean? Like Kanye is not being consistent in his actions with what he says? What are you talking about? That doesn't sound like Kanye West to me. So,
Very impassioned, we'll say.